Hey guys, so I want to go over EURUSD for Wednesday, April 16th, as well as Tuesday, April 15th. The last video I shared had some struggles uploading, but what I did say ended up happening. So we're going to go over that, and then we're going to go over the rest of the setups available today, which were actually very scarce. We had what I would call a consolidation day today, and I also adjusted the bull flag that I'm looking at. I think it's a little bigger than I expected initially, which is always happening. Ranges are constantly expanding, and that's something I always talk about. Usually we trade in ranges, and when it breaks out, we should already be positioned to have some exposure for that breakout. And then once price settles in, we go back to trading our setups again and again. So last we spoke, I mentioned that there was an active field breakdown around Tuesday 4 o'clock. So if you notice here, we're right here, and the low we were working with was right this one. So we went below this low right here at 12 p.m. and then we kind of consolidated above that. You could have went long here too, noticing the acceptance at this level, but if you wanted to be sure, especially not get caught in more selling, you'd want to go long above this level after acceptance. So this level was 1277 about, so about 1280. So we can refer to this as a trigger. It doesn't have to be exact. It's more about the price action that is happening and then what kind of upside we can see above. So here realistically, if we entered around 1280, the upside would be looking at like at least selling off somewhere around here, if not more. So let's evaluate that. This is a 1 hour chart. I'm going to go to 15 just so we can see more of the price breakdown. So this is where the trigger was, and look at the irony here. After price lost the low, again the low is, give me 1 second here. Laptop does not want to cooperate right now, but wonderful, come on. I'm gonna put a line here just so you can see where the low is, then I'll go back to where we were. Okay, so let's go back to 15 and talk about this, because this was an awesome field breakdown, and the type of setup that this showed was the type that you would expect for a big breakout because of multiple traps and consolidation. So okay, here we go. We lost that low around 1230, and our trigger is 1280. So right here, this one. We're going to turn it green for now just so we have a point of reference. Look at the irony, because we trade like big money. So what does that mean? We know where they want to enter, and we know where they're trapping. You can see some, just exactly, I didn't show you earlier, but we exactly tagged this level and sold. So it trapped some people trying to go long on the first trigger. You don't want to go long on the first trigger if you can help it. You want extensive acceptance before you go long. So this is the first pullback. Now the second time we went through. This is a valid time to enter. It could trap you again because we didn't go above and hold, but at least you saw how price came up to the trigger, sold out, held this low, came right back to the trigger area and triggered again, and now you can go long. However, if you're still being patient, you wait for acceptance above and you didn't get that, meaning acceptance above would just be like if price goes above and it stays there for a little bit instead of just going back down, which it did a little bit here, which is why you're okay like entering here technically speaking. And you see how we held the low, so the trade never invalidated, came back to the trigger once more exact, and then finally pushed off at 330. We reached our target entry of 8 points, 9 points at least, right away. You could have held for a little longer and gotten more. And afterwards, we reclaimed the level, which I had as an entry too, with force. You notice how we tried for a while, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attempts, almost 4 or 5 attempts to break it, but stayed close to the level, didn't lose this low. Your stop loss would have been below this for a reclaim. And then at 6 p.m., when the market opens in the futures, we push through. So you'd go long, you'd be having to go long right away if you can. Go long right around 1290. If you miss that, you can wait for a back test with this candle, and you get a second chance to enter here where we dipped through, back tested, and offered a second entry. And then from there, we were off to the races. One can also see last night, 8:45 on the newly adjusted flag. This is the middle of the flag, how we consolidated around there before taking off for more. We consolidated around the major zone, trapping people both ways before finally taking off at 11:15. This level also provided kind of a reclaim setup where we got there, pushed down, pushed through again a couple times before taking off, yada yada. Like, the market always moves in the same patterns: failed breakdowns, reclaims, and backtest. Here, after the level hit the blue target exact as you can see up here, we consolidated sideways and then dipped and recovered this level for a nice 20-point candle afterwards, which we kind of were just chopping all day today. It was very heavy. The action was very slow. I woke up around 6 o'clock and I was watching the market. I saw we were consolidating and was stalking a dip and recovery of this level as an entry. Ideally, I would have loved a failed breakdown, but I knew the price might not get there. What we did get was a mini failed breakdown, and that's where I took my entry. Just looking at a 5-minute, I noticed that we bounced here at 8:35-ish. I saw we started bouncing, and I didn't go long yet. I wanted to see if we can lose this low. We lost this low and then started going back up again. That piqued my interest, and then when we pushed off the level at 9 a.m., I decided to go long, and that worked out well. Since that entry, we've just been testing this macro level once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, before finally breaking out the 5th time here, getting to the top of this bull flag before selling down. We back tested that macro level once more right now around 4 p.m. and now we're just consolidating above it, possibly looking for more. I would love a pullback at this point. Most of these setups are different recoveries because it's very congested. If we can get a nice pullback to this area, maybe the major zone one more time, get a failed breakdown of these levels, that'd be a great long. We might not be fortunate enough to get that. At this point, what could be good is a failed breakdown of the blue level right here. Currently, that's from 1382 up to 1400. That's about 18 points. It's a solid low to work with. So I would love to see that. If we don't set up a new high above this, that's what I'm looking for. If we do set up a new high above this, then I want to be a little careful with my longs just because it could be a failed breakout. The opposite of a failed breakdown where we set a high, then go above that high, then lose the initial high. So essentially that would be something like this. Let's see. Like this. So that's the setup I'm looking for right now. I think right now we're pretty bullish. I want to zoom out a little bit. Looks like we're just currently breaking out, just continued breakout, consolidation below. This level right here is the big resistance as well as the macro below it. And hopefully we can get some pullback and more entries. I'd love more selling and maybe retest some of these levels before taking off, but price action will do what it wants.